I'm Bruce Buffer. It's time for the Anthony Gorgano Show!
Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday across the Delaware Valley. This is the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. Check out TrueMark.com/PHLY. Stop in your local branch to learn more about the credit union difference at TrueMark Financial today. And the team that doesn't lose did not yesterday either. Oh, my. The pitching staff continues to roll, this time Aaron Nola. How about this gem? So yesterday afternoon, before the rains came, perfect timing, Aaron Nola dealing 7 innings of shutout baseball, a mere 2 hits, no walks, 5 strikeouts for Nola. Wow. Again, the pitching staff continues to just dominate this whole series. One after the other. Wheeler, Sanchez, Nola. How about it? They allowed Milwaukee, one of the highest scoring teams in all of baseball. They limited Milwaukee to 2 runs, a paltry pair. That's right, 2 runs over the 3-game sweep for the Phillies. The Phillies now 22-8 at Citizens Bank Park, 44-19. After the game, they boarded a flight for London. So here's the deal, though. Nola was masterful again, economical with his pitches around the strike zone. I mean, you saw it, right? No walks. Didn't come close. I mean, he had Milwaukee guessing. I always give a shout out because my man's favorite player is Nola, is Tasty Cake Dom. And he would call him Dr. Freeze because he did have a penchant, especially earlier in his career when he came in, at kind of freezing hitters on called third strikes. And he was masterful again yesterday. Then you look at that deal that he signed that people wondered about, some people. 7 years, $172 million. And it looks like a bargain when it comes to the kind of starting pitching that he's given you. Of course, he gave you the quote last night, "It's where I want to be." I was listening to Bryce Harper pregame, interviewed by Fransky in L.A., and they're talking to Bryce, and Bryce is talking about this whole atmosphere and how could you not want to play for this organization? How could you not want to play for this town? And the good vibes just continue. Last night, it was Castellanos' turn at the plate. So Costi hits the home run. He's teed it up a little bit, right, over the last couple of weeks. He's certainly hit much better during the homestand. He had the game, the walk-off double 2 nights ago, and then he gets you the home run yesterday. So Costi played, is rolling and starting to feel good a little bit. So you look at this team as they go to London, and it's just every bit of marvelous. And it starts with the rotation. I mean, I thought the best rotation in Phillies history would never be matched was 2011. Halladay, Hamels, Lee, Oswalt. I mean, even Blanton as your 5th starter, right? And then you look at this rotation, and this rotation's better. It's unbelievably better. It's shockingly better. Wheeler in the role of Halladay, and then you roll in. You want to go Nola, you want to go Ranger, right? You got Sanchez, who's been better than Oswalt, and you got the Taiwan effect, but I mean, at some point he's going to be replaced. So that's coming down the road. Wow. I mean, Turnbull's going to take his spot at some point, but they are just one after the other, and the bullpen has been perfect. Not even trouble, not even a sweat. Like, you're watching these games. And remember, the Phillies, it's interesting, right? The Phillies in the 3-game sweep over Milwaukee, they only scored 7 runs, right, throughout the 3 games. So they only scored 7 runs. Wild. And they limit Milwaukee to 2. And then, of course, they board the flight to England. This is going to be a lot of fun this weekend. Big British theme on the show, obviously tomorrow, beginning today, because the team left for England, and it's a really cool thing that they're doing. The London series, I know this international thing I love, whether it's the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, NHL. I love the international flavor. I love the world looking, getting to know the American sports and us going over there. I think it's really cool. Phillies Mets is going to be a lot of fun. We get it like 10 a.m. Sunday morning. Pretty cool. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anyway, they boarded a flight last night, so they're in London. We're going to go a little bit later on this morning to a pub live in London, Passyunk Avenue. You've probably heard about it by now. A Philadelphia-themed pub in the middle of London. The owner, JP, not our JP, will join us live from his pub, because we know a lot of Philadelphians are headed across the pond to experience the Phillies in London. So we're going to get our own little experience going across it. Big day, Birds. The mini camp continues today. And that'll be it for summer vacation before training camp begins in earnest. Baldy was there yesterday. We'll talk about it. The big news out of Eagles training camp, Brandon Graham, BG, talked at length yesterday about the difference when it comes to the coaching staff and how they were really disjointed last year. They didn't know substitution patterns, especially during the switch at defensive coordinator when Matt Patricia takes over for Sean Desai. A lot of uncertainty. The guys didn't know what they were doing. So it was a real mess. And he was pretty forthright in talking about it yesterday. Well, that obviously is going to change. You got Vic Fangio. You got stability from the coaching standpoint. I think that's one of the big themes on both sides of the ball. Is that you got two, as great as I love the draft and getting Kenyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, I love it. And Barkley as the free agent. But the biggest, to me, addition to this team is really going to be both coordinators. The fact that you get both coordinators, veteran guys who've done it before. Kellen Moore has called plays. Kellen Moore has been an OC. And, of course, Vic Fangio is that veteran grizzled OC that I think they've needed. So you're going to have stability on both sides of the ball. Baldy was there yesterday, so we'll have a conversation with Baldy, go deep into the roster, the whole thing. But my biggest thing is I just believe that having having the stability with those two coordinators is a monster thing, just an absolute monster. So that excites me more than anything. I think we saw a lot of mistakes last year because of it. So we'll get into Birds and minicamp, and the NBA Finals begin tonight. Boston, Dallas. That's going to be a lot of fun. The big news in the NBA, though, and this is wild. So Dan Hurley, who is an incredible coach, UConn, right? We saw how masterful in winning the last 2 NCAA championships. Of course, his father, Jersey City, the whole 9, Duke goes away. Danny Hurley, they're really the first family of basketball, the Hurley family. They're like the Mannings of basketball. So the Lakers are going to, according to Woj, make a huge offer to Danny Hurley to bring him to the NBA. That's a big deal. I don't know that the Lakers are ready to win, but he's a great coach. I'll tell you that. So Those are the stories that we'll be covering today. Good morning, JP. That's popping off. Brought to you by your favorite Olipop.
Hello, cuz. Good morning to you. How are you? I'm ready for London, guys.
You are.
Let's
You're
do
ready. Find your favorite flavors of Olipop at your nearest Wawa.
Absolutely. Cuz I need to start off today because, listen, as a man, you have to recognize when you are wrong, right? So I want to apologize to everyone here today because I was unfamiliar with Aaron Nola's game in 2024 because he is absolutely on fire this season.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding me?
And just the way that he's been playing this season, it's just truly remarkable how he's just been able to come in every game and take over. And I saw his season stats this year, right? And this is why I wanted to come up here and talk about it. So he's 8-2 on the season. He's got an ERA of 2.77 with 76 Ks. Guys, he is on fire right now. And I'm going to say it here, because he's your number 2. He's your clear number 2 because of what he can do when he is on. That knuckle curve was working yesterday. And yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, but is it? I hate giving them all designations.
Okay.
Of 1, 2. There's a Wheeler's. It's Wheeler's rotation.
He's the ace.
Right. So Wheeler's the rotation. And whether it's Ranger or whether it's Nola, you know,
it's going to be matchup based in the playoff time.
You know,
righty or lefty.
I mean, really, to your point, he's pitching so well, right? Like, and it rivals. It really does feel like the aces of the past. Like I was there for 2011. I remember being excited in Clearwater when they had that collection of pitchers, and they didn't disappoint.
No,
they were amazing. This rotation's pitching better.
No, for sure. And like they're feeding off of each other. And then like what's crazy about it too, cuz is like you're getting great starts. Like look at the series, right? You talk about the Brewers offense. Obviously, Christopher Sanchez was the only one that didn't go 7 deep, and we can argue that he probably should have gone 7. But the bullpen has also been fantastic as well. Shutout baseball. You get Nicky Castellanos' big 2-run home run, right? And then after that, the pitching staff just shuts the Brewers out, and you get the sweep. That's an impressive sweep, cuz the first place in the Central, Milwaukee Brewers.
2 runs.
Two runs in 3 games. That's absolutely wild. The only people who are going to talk about the strength of schedules today is going to be Atlanta, but we don't care because this team is just rolling into London.
Yeah, it's something. It's every night.
Every night.
I feel like the lead of the show has been the same with a different twist.
Yeah.
And it deserves to be.
Yeah.
Yo, listen, I do something called the inverted pyramid, right? It's journalism, and it's the big story, right? Whatever the story is of the day is what we lead the show off of. And the Phillies, every game, you see it. Every game, it's some sort of dominance. Like to win 2-0, but to not feel a sweat. I mean, the entire, I don't know about you, but really the entire series, it felt like they were not even taxed, even though they win 1 on a walk-off in extra innings.
I know. And because you know what it is too, is like, it feels like when the Phillies are in Citizens Bank Park, there's no one that can stop them. When you got the crowd behind you, they feed off of that. And whether it be the pitching or the hitting, everyone is just absolutely stepping up. So it's just super hard to beat this Phillies team right now. And it was a fun series.
And listen, it goes back to the point that we're talking about with when it comes to pitching. When you got that sort of, when you're dealing like that, I mean, and again,
chain reaction
they haven't even hit. Like they haven't gone nuts.
Yeah.
And you know that the line's going to go nutso at some point.
Well, Nicky's feeling himself right now.
Well, yeah.
He unbuttoned one extra button. Look at him right now. Getting clutch hits. That homer was awesome.
The unbutton.
The unbutton.
Yeah.
You only got to go, what does he go, like 3 buttons up?
You got
4 unbuttons?
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But of course, VG does not.
I know.
VG watching at home with COVID has a neck phobia.
I know. What is with that, VG?
I don't know. That one's weird.
He's gonna do the John Madden diagram.
Yeah.
Pointing at this right there. Too much hamburger meat.
Anyway, Phillies have been just amazing, and then of course the Eagles minicamp and JP. What excites me most is having legitimate coaching staff.
Yeah.
I think that was the biggest issue last year. They just didn't look prepared. They off. We talked about it with Jalen, and I don't know how he could not be affected by Brian Johnson, right? Like how there was a guy that regressed, and he did. Like when you break down, Baldy and I broke down that film every week, he regressed. And I attribute it to, I think, the coaching staff. And I think Brian Johnson just was not the OC, did not put him in the right spot. I think there were issues.
I think one of the most underrated things in football, cuz, is just finding that coaching staff, right? It's so hard to find those good assistants. And when you find them, a year or two later, once they're doing a good job, boom, here comes another team, plucks them away, and becomes their head coach. I think, it's funny because I look at, Andy and Doug, because they were the most successful coaches over this recent time period here in the Eagles. Andy did a solid job of finding those replacements until he couldn't. Doug, after we lost Frank Reich, right? After
well, you saw Andy's tree, right? Like,
oh my God,
so
it's
Andy's
still going
tree's
now.
a forest.
That's good. I like that.
But it's true. I mean, like one after
stop.
another. There's head coaches everywhere, right? The league's littered with Andy Reid guys. In the same way that Walsh, he was a disciple of Walsh through Holmgren, right? He's done the same exact thing, which is just incredible. So he's had that. But to your point, we saw the same issue with Doug. Like the minute he lost his assistant coaches, he had trouble replacing them.
That was one of his downfalls.
And Nick has, 2 years into it, he has his guys poached.
Yeah.
And I thought Gannon. I didn't think
screwed us up, right?
What's that?
It's kind of screwed us up with his timeline becoming a head coach now, because he first said he wasn't going to go to Arizona, and then he does.
Yeah, I think they missed him more than they missed Gannon. Listen, Gannon had a good year last year as a head coach, right? I was not fond of him, but I just think Desai was swimming last year.
Oh my God,
he had no idea what he was doing.
It was bad.
And then, first of all, I do think that secondary. I mean, even in the Super Bowl, I mean, even during that run, that defense wasn't that good.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. No,
the secondary.
Yeah, and cuz this secondary is getting me excited this year. I mean, we talked about Kelly Ringo yesterday, but I'm hearing really good things about Isaiah Rodgers, someone who a lot of people thought may be on the bubble. I mean, cuz the way he's playing early on, he set himself up good for training camp.
Well, Kelly Ringo, I'm excited. I actually think I liked him. I liked the pick. Right,
a bulldog.
Those give me an SEC defensive back any day of the week, and I always think that they're going to work out at some point.
How about our boy Kenyon Mitchell talking a little crap with AJ Brown?
Yeah,
I love seeing that type of stuff too. Now, obviously, like AJ said, you got to go out now and prove yourself in practice, but you love seeing that little moxie early on from your young secondary.
Now
piece.
it is again mini camp.
Yeah,
they're talking about it and. The coaches crack me up because it's like, I guess they call it, it's football in pajamas. Right? Like you're not going, you're doing very little 11 on 11. There's very little to glean from it. I guess, that Jalen has not looked good.
And that's what fans right now, what they're doing, they're just scrolling on Twitter and just like, wait, what? Jalen just threw another interception, and it's just like, you gotta relax a little bit.
Listen, we understand. We
said.
Understand that minicamp's a minicamp, so
right.
it's not, you don't get alarmed by it. However, he's on the clock, man.
No, that's a good point.
He's got to improve. He did not play well last year.
No, yeah, and I mean, listen, the coaching staff is what it is. But Jalen as a leader, especially off the year he came off in 22, we definitely expect more from him last year. But
I expect forget about leadership, right? I think we throw that stuff around. You need more mechanically. He regressed.
Big play. Oh, well, yeah, that too. But
he regressed mechanically. Again, he was quick to get out of the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
The minute you see color, you can't leave. You gotta be able to step up, slide step. His pocket presence was not good last year.
That's what we're hoping Kellen Moore's scheme can kind of help out with.
Well, that's it. I mean, and it's a fairness. He wasn't given any answers to a blitz, right? So when you're blitzing, right? You got to have the answers written into the play. And he didn't have that.
Right.
So they got to give him the tools, but also he needs to play better. He also needs to play better, stepping into throws and delivering the ball on time. Like, I want to see, because we saw it 2 years ago.
Oh, for
He
sure.
was tremendous 2 years ago. I never thought he could play like that. Like, honestly, that
almost MVP
Super Bowl,
level.
he was every bit of a top 5 talent at quarterback in that Super Bowl. The way he played, it was uncanny.
I mean, think about it. If you make a defensive
he
stop.
got away from it last year.
Imagine if you make a defensive stop in the last drive against Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Jalen probably is hoisting a Vince Lombardi trophy here. And I think the pressure gets down a little bit higher this year because of, on paper, this offense, the weapons are ridiculous. Kellen Moore's got toys to play with. Jalen Hurts has toys to throw to as well, or to hand off with Saquon Barkley. So I think with that as well, when you talk about what happened last year and we talk about the weapons that he has this year, I think the pressure is fully on Jalen Hurts. And so, but it's obviously, listen, he's got a full crowd behind him, right? Kellen Moore, the weapons behind him as well. But it's going to be interesting to see how this offense evolves here in 2024.
Yeah, no, you always get the itch.
Oh, yeah.
It's a perpetual itch.
Yeah, it's the birds.
Yeah, it's a perpetual. They're interesting. They're always interesting, right? Like that's the blessing of having a franchise like that, is that they're always interesting. They're always a part of it.
And I always talk about it. My generation, we're spoiled. Like, we've had a lot of good football, and we've consistently been a golden standard of just excellence here. I mean, we have only one Super Bowl.
It's nuts, because I think back to that gold. You said gold standard. When Jeffrey Lurie said the gold standard, he got mocked. Right? I was new on WIP, and I remember everybody just destroying him and Joe Banner about that whole thing. And he built it, because it was the end of the Ray Rhodes.
Right.
Andy comes in. Nobody knew who Andy was. And, he built it.
But he learns from his mistakes always, I feel like. No,
but my point is that he built he built a gold standard franchise. I mean, it's uncanny how that thing kind of worked out.
And now you look into 2020s, this decade, like, the Eagles are always in a conversation for being one of the best teams in the NFC or being a Super Bowl contender. I think that starts up top with Jeff. Big Lurie.
Yeah, and Howie, who's done an amazing job. All right.
You're a wizard, Howie.
All right. You're a wizard. I always like the wizard. All right. We got lots to get to. Let's talk about, before we go to London, and we're going to go to London. I can't wait to go to London. I wish we were going there, Andrew.
I know, me too.
Yeah, that would have been fun. But I'll stay home and watch with my primos. Yes. Because for over 30 years, Primo Hoagies has offered a culinary experience that celebrates tradition, quality, and the unmistakable flavor of Philadelphia. That's right. From their first store opening in 1982 in the heart of South Philadelphia on Rittner Street, with sandwich shops on every corner, they needed to stand out with something truly special. Their secret, the quality of ingredients that go into every hoagie. All right, from the finest meats and cheeses to their award-winning seeded roll, baked fresh in store every couple hours. Everybody knows that roll, man. The crunch on the outside, the softness on the inside. It just makes the sandwich. It's always been about bread in Philadelphia, and that's the beauty of Primo Hoagies, man. That's the way they have done it. Yeah, I hear you, buddy. So this weekend, while everybody's in London and you want to hang out, and whether it's graduation season and parties, a lot of stuff happens in June, check out Primo Hoagies. Become a Primo Rewards member and get $2 off Primo-size hoagies every Wednesday. So do yourself a favor, all right? PrimoHoagies.com for all of, don't forget, they have desserts, right? The cookies, they have the sides, the pepperoni and cheese, all that stuff. But nothing beats all those sandwiches. And you'll say what I always say. It's not just a hoagie. It's a Primo. And we are brought to you by Dr. Andy. All right? Now, I want to tell you about Sleep Healthy PA. That's Dr. Andy's mission, which is to sleep healthy. Stop the snore. Now, I've known Dr. Andy for a long time now. He is he's an amazing guy. He stumbled on his solution to stop the snore because of himself. A buddy of his was very sick with cancer. He was staying with him, and he was keeping his buddy up because he snored. So he came up with a contraption. He studied this thing to make sure that he wouldn't snore to keep his friend awake. See, what causes sleep apnea, there's a choke point in the throat that causes snoring. You can think of it like a kink in a garden hose. So Dr. Andy, who's board certified in dental sleep medicine, he has a staff. They're going to work one-on-one with you to provide first-class care that meets your needs. Like, a lot of physicians aren't equipped to provide options outside of CPAP machines, all right? But this is Dr. Andy. He does it in such a different way, using dental devices, right? Laser therapy in your throat that does not hurt. All right, I've seen him do it. He'll make sure that the airways are open. He's a brilliant guy. All right, his team is committed to stopping the snore. Tell him PHLY sent you. You get 15% off your initial workup. The process, again, you get a 2-hour initial exam that's split into 2 sessions. You got information gathering, medical history, and imaging, and then you review the results, and he's going to give you his recommendations. All right, do yourself a favor. A lot of divorces happen because of the snore. If you're experiencing sleep apnea, your health, all right, it matters. Looking for a custom solution? Reach out to Dr. Andrew Cohen, Dr. Andy, Sleep Healthy PA, or go to 215-337-2501 and tell him PHLY sent you. Now, let's go across the pond ourselves as London is getting ready to experience Philadelphia, and the Philly fans joining us outside, I guess, of his incredible tavern, his amazing pub, Passyunk Avenue, is our man, JP Teddy. JP!
Yo, Anthony, what's happening, man?
Dude, I love it. I'm like, I feel like I'm there. Give me, I'm street side. Now, are you outside Passyunk Avenue?
You know what? I'm not. And let me tell you why I'm not. I'm in one of the poshest neighborhoods in London. I'm in a neighborhood called Mayfair right now, sitting in a square called Berkeley Square. Probably some of the most expensive real estate in the world surrounds me. They don't let Passyunk into places like this. I just came out of a meeting, and they knew if they found out I'm promoting Passyunk, I'll get kicked out of here. So I got to keep it on the down low.
That's fabulous. The Mayfair in London is a little different than the Mayfair in the Northeast.
It's a lot different. It's just sort of like I was just bumped into some people from Philly, and they say, we're staying in Kensington in London. It's beautiful. It's nothing like Kensington in Philadelphia.
That's fantastic. Hey, JP, do me a favor. Tell us the story of what brought you there and how this whole thing, because it's become a phenomenon. It started with the Eagles and, of course, our good friend Vince from Philly Sports Trips. The whole thing's blown up.
Yeah, I mean, so I've been here for 16 years, Anthony, and initially I came over to do a corporate job for a big American corporation. I was based in London, and it was a really interesting job. My territory was the Middle East and Africa, so I didn't spend much time in London at the time. I was traveling pretty much for the first 7 years I lived here. And then as part of that experience, I went to business school. When I was in business school, I started thinking about, like, do I want to do this corporate stuff the rest of my life? I don't think I do. Also coming from South Philly Italian roots, you kind of always think about food. And in London, I was noticing there was a distinct lack of, Philly specialty Italian American fusion cuisine that I was used to eating when I was growing up. That, in addition to the fact that, talking to friends, which I thought that was odd because London's such a diverse place. Like, how could there not be this kind of food here?
Right.
Then I was talking to friends, just asking people, like, what do you guys know about Philadelphia? When I say Philadelphia to you, what does that mean? And people would often come back to me and say, I don't know, soft cheese, cream cheese. And I'm like, what? Like, so not even like a big important city in America. And they're like, no, it doesn't even register. And so at that point, the sort of germ of the idea started developing. The Philly inferiority complex kicks in. And I'm thinking like, I did a bit of research. I knew there was a significant appetite for Americana, not only in the UK, but in the wider Europe. And my sort of assessment of what was going on in the hospitality space was that like that, the way that demand was being met was with really superficial, generalized concepts. And so I put all this thinking together and I said, what if we actually did an American hospitality concept that really drilled down into something regional, ethnic, idiosyncratic, and gave people a real glimpse into something, something quite unique, and we could create an immersive brand out of that. Maybe that's the way to crack this, this nut, which was this demand for American food, drink, culture, etc. And that's really where the initial idea and the impetus behind Passion came. And long story short, many years later, like we've turned it into one of the best American hospitality concepts in the UK and Europe. And we're sort of on the march now. People know what Philadelphia is here, and I like to think we had something to do with that.
Dude, I freaking love it. What a great story, man. It's brilliant. You're a very smart guy. How many do you have now?
So we got three Passions in London, central London. We got one in the West End. We got one down in Waterloo. And we got one over next to the American Embassy in Battersea. We have terms agreed on another site out in Kensington, London, Kensington, nice neighborhood in the West. And we're acquiring another 2,500 square feet. We're expanding our Waterloo site in the next month or so. So we're on the march. And now we're also starting to look at some European cities where we think the concept will work, because we want to demonstrate that, like, we're not just a one-trick pony. We can do this. And the concept is resonant outside of a city like London. So we're looking at other cities in Europe, Northern Europe, like Dublin, Amsterdam, Berlin. So yeah, we have a lot of ambition. We have a lot of great feedback so far. We know that people really value this brand, and certainly the way we execute it. So we just want to make it bigger. We want to bring the Philly religion to more people.
All right. Well, just save the Italian territory for me. All right. Because I'll take care of Rome and Milan. All right.
You got it, man. I was just there last week. I'll be honest, and I was on Capri, and we went into this sandwich shop, and I couldn't believe the sandwiches that we got. It was like the closest thing to a Philly hoagie I've ever seen outside of the stuff we produce. So I was like, these people, there's some enlightened cats over here. I dig it.
Well, that's kind of how part of it came. Like the Italian sandwiches, like that. First of all, it's the bread, right? And they don't junk it up. Like those sandwiches are a lot like. I think that's kind of how it kind of filtered in from here. And you were near Naples, and I think a lot of the Italian American culture comes from Naples.
Yeah, so part of my family came from around Naples, and then the other part, most of the ones that ended up in Philadelphia came from Abruzzo, so not too far, a couple hours drive from there. And you're right, but there's something we did to that culture and that food when it got to places like Philadelphia, where we started riffing on it a little bit, and we, I mean, in my view, I think we made it better. We certainly made it very unique. And that sort of American fusion Italian thing is a really interesting space.
So what do you do? You sell, so you do cheesesteaks, you do hoagies, you meatball sandwiches type of thing?
Yeah, I mean, all the greatest hits: cheesesteaks, hoagies, chicken parms, eggplant parms. Our buffalo wings are easily the best in Europe. But the thing that's really interesting about the way we've conceived of this business is that we never really wanted to be a product centric business. We never, it's great that you come in and you want to eat our cheesesteaks and you love our cheesesteaks. You tell your friends about our cheesesteaks. That's great. But like fundamentally, we don't want to be a product centric business. We want to be a really immersive experiential business. We want, when you come into our venues, we want to tap into people's desire for a bit of escapism. You disappear into our venues for a little while, you're somewhere else. You can be someone else. And that whether it's the food we serve you, whether it's what you see on the TVs, whether it's the way your server risks with you, or or the crap you see on the walls. It's all about creating this immersive,
That's awesome.
cultural transaction. And initially when I conceived of like that's the way I want this brand to work, like, I'm just not going to sell people cheesesteaks. I'm going to sell people a lifestyle. Like
Yeah.
I thought maybe my conception of it was a bit too nuanced, and maybe that's why the concept might fall over. But it turns out that people sort of get that and clamor for it. We get the individual feedback from customers saying, "I just love being here and the way it makes me feel." And then we get like publications like National Geographic, who do a whip through London, and they say Passyunk's one of the top 5 drinking dens that transport you entirely to another place, right? And we're like, actually, the way we conceived of this brand is the way it's being received, and a lot of that's down to the idea, but a lot of that's down to the execution as well. Like we're obsessive about executing it in a way where like this lifestyle comes through and people engage with it.
I love it. I love Philadelphia people that do big things, and I love your mind because you're so right. Like, and I'm glad you've been proven correct that nuance is everything. It's not just about let me just like sling cheesesteaks. Like that's not it. It's an entire experience and how it makes you feel. And then you have a highlight of first with the Eagles and now with the Phillies. And what's it going to be like with all the Philadelphians that are about to descend on England in London?
Well, I mean, I can tell you, I got a taste of it last night. It's going to be complete chaos. Chaos in the best possible way. I mean, these people, like the business and the brand embodies their energy, and they're just going to come and amplify it, right? That's what we're all about. We're all about repping these people, repping their lifestyle, and they're just going to help us take it to another level. I saw it last night. I was across all the 3 venues last night. The buzz, the vibe, the excitement. I mean, we're ready to party here, and wish you could come be with us, Anthony. I
Oh
don't know how
my
you missed
God,
it.
yeah. Oh man, it's amazing. What advice? By the way, JP Teddy with us and Passyunk Avenue. It's his creation, Passyunk Pub. It's an amazing stuff that he's doing out there. It's the big story brought to you by Truemark Financial, as the Phillies descend on the UK and London. So, JP, what advice do you have for Phillies fans? Like, be the ambassador now, and what do they need to see in London? How do they need to act or behave, or what's some advice that you would give Phillies fans?
Well, first of all, I know a lot of the guys from Philly are coming over on the red eye and they're tired. First bit of advice is on the first day you're here, you got to power through. Don't go to your hotel room. Don't sit down for too long. You're going to fall asleep. Power through, tough out the first day, and you'll be fine. The next bit of advice I would give is to, get out and walk the city. The city is very walkable, particularly in the central areas. Get out, walk the city. Don't be afraid to use public transportation. It's all very easy. It's all very accessible. The weather's going to be okay. So, we're not going to be rained on. Might be a bit chilly. So wear a jacket. But, like, it's an amazing city to explore. There's so many great and important cultural links, particularly back to a city like Philly with the history that we have in being the birthplace of the nation. So get out and explore. Certainly come hang out at Passyunk because we're doing lots of cool stuff throughout the weekend. In addition to just having our venues, we've created a whole suite of additional activities so people could engage with the brand and be a part of what we're doing. And get out to the stadium and make as much noise as possible. Because let me tell you, we're embarrassing Mets fans. It's got to be 20-1, the ratio, maybe even higher. You don't see any Mets fans at all. I haven't seen any. I ride my bike around the city every day. I don't see any.
Wow. What? How's baseball being received there?
I mean, it's growing. It's growing, Anthony. We one of the reasons we sort of our brand has become so associated with baseball is in the very beginning when we had our first site, the small little site was like being a little pub in South Philly. We started attracting very early on the really sort of nascent forms of Major League Baseball team fan groups, essentially, of which the Philadelphia Phillies fan group is like the biggest in the UK. I like to think we had something to do with that over the years. But Um, and they always are coming to try and watch games in our little original joint, which really couldn't accommodate as many people as wanted to come through and watch baseball. And that led ultimately to a formal relationship, bit of a joint venture relationship with Major League Baseball. And, through that relationship, we got some real insights into how baseball was developing in the UK as being part of America, being part of a venture that was essentially evangelizing the sport and fandom of the sport. And I'll tell you, I think MLB is doing a good job here. They have a good presence on the ground. They're investing a lot of money, resource, and time in youth activations, which is really important. There's some really good youth baseball leagues, certainly around London. I know Passyunk's the sponsor of one of them, one of the biggest, most important ones in London. So there's a lot of younger kids playing here. There's a lot of good youth engagement here. The Major League Baseball fan group scene in the time that Passyunk's been around has grown like astronomically. For the playoffs, in the middle of the night here, we'll pack our venues, right? And 6 years ago, we would have never seen that, right? So I think at the end of the day, Major League Baseball and baseball in general is selling what Passyunk is selling. We're selling Americana, and a lot of people want a bit of a taste of Americana. They want that aspirational, sort of enthusiastic look into what's going on. And when they say they support a baseball team, or they say they support an NFL team, they kind of feel like they're part of the tribe.
That's awesome. And they have a great ambassador in Chase Utley.
Amazing. Chase lives not far from me in West London. His kids play in the league that my kids play in, the youth league. And it's been a huge boost to have him here, just to have him available to come around and do fan engagement stuff. He's used the Passyunk platform quite a lot, as has Major League Baseball, to get in front of people and promote the sport to people. So it's been a huge asset to have him here.
I got to tell you, I'm so proud of you, man. So proud of Philadelphians that make a big mark in the world. I'm a Europhile. I love it. I love the culture and the melding of culture. And what you've done is really awesome, dude. I'm just very proud of you, JP.
Thank you, Anthony. Appreciate it, man. And the support, I'll tell you, it's been really fortifying, even in the darkest times. As we were building this business, the support we got from back home was unflinching and robust at all times. And without that, there were some times probably when we wanted to tag out of this thing, and now we see that it was all worthwhile. So we appreciate it. All
it
the
was
love and
so cool. Like, I'll never forget when the Eagles first, and we heard about you, and I was like, "Oh, this is awesome, man!" Like, and we'd have people calling from the bar and from the pub, and it was dynamite. So cool.
Yeah, man, it's been a great experience. We have a lot more to do before we get to a point where we're going to be satisfied. But every once in a while, we step back and we can feel some thanks and some gratitude for what we've done so far.
Well, listen, enjoy this weekend. It's going to be a great weekend. Philadelphia comes to you in London. It's going to be awesome. So enjoy it, my brother. All right. And I know you'll represent because you always do.
Thanks, bro. Come over and see us soon.
Can't wait. No,
take care, man.
JP, man, it is unbelievable. The Passyunk.
See you guys.
How great is that? Isn't that a cool?
That was awesome.
I'm so interested. Like, to me, I love people Philadelphians that do stuff like that.
How about the neighborhood names? Because I also know there's like a Camden neighborhood there too.
Well, that's where we got all those from.
Yeah,
England.
we took all the names.
Yeah, we took. They didn't take Kensington from Kensington. We took Kensington from their Kensington.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
all full circle.
Go look at the map. All right, and then you'll see all the familiar names.
Oh man, but it's
all right. But it's
just funny because like
when this country was being born.
Yeah.
What do? You're taking the names from England.
It's just funny because like the neighborhoods over there are nice, but then the neighborhoods over here are not the best with the same names. I just find that interesting.
Yeah, it really is. It's fascinating.
JP in England.
That's right. Just terrific. All right. Time now for the brain.
Brain. Red, the brain finder.
All right, the
What's going
brain.
on, man?
What do you say? Cheerio, my man.
Well, hopefully, yeah, right, exactly. Well, hopefully we'll be cheerio. It should be exciting, by the way, NBA Finals game night. I'm excited about it. I'm really looking forward to watching this series. I think it actually should be a great one. I really do.
Yeah, I love it. Of course, the brain brought to us by the Bet Park Sportsbook Casino app. Yeah,
Sure.
I'm with you. It's been such a long layoff because of the sweeps, and I mean, I'm so excited, man. I can't wait for it. And again, I know we talked about it before earlier in the week, but I like Dallas. I think Dallas is live, man. I think they're really live in this thing. I know you've been looking forward to it. You said from the beginning when it was Dallas, Minnesota, you were going to back whoever won that series. You were back against Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I like Dallas here. I do. Again, I think they're going to win. I do. Now, again, could the Porzingis thing just be the panacea? First of all, again, I'm talking about this Boston team like they're haven't won a game. I have to be fair. They're, 12-2 in the playoffs or whatever it is. But as I said, when I look at an Indiana game, take a deeper dive, Anthony, with a minute to go in 3 of those games, they were a massive underdog. Yeah, they win all of them. But again, is that a sustainable path? People are just looking at, again, if you're a coach, you win the game. I get it. But I kind of feel like if you just really analyzed those games, I thought Indiana, I'll actually go as far to say, look better. That's just my opinion. Other people may not agree with it. Again, Boston. Now, I will say this. The one thing that has been their bugaboo, so to speak, Anthony, is how's this team playing the clutch? Especially Tatum has gotten a lot of guff for how he's played down the stretch in these games. Well, they could say to everyone, listen, look what we did against Indiana. Yeah, we in the clutch, we made the plays, they didn't. That's why we won, because we did come up big in the clutch. So, look, I got to give them their due for that. But
I know,
again,
I can't. Yeah, I mean, the problem with that is, again, it's context, right?
Yeah.
Like if Halliburton was there and they were at full strength, I would give him a little more points, right?
Yeah, of course. Well, that's what I'm saying. As a sports bettor, Anthony, we have to take the context, like you said, and we can't just look at. Back in the day, I swear, like 20 years ago, Anthony, people would just look at the final score, like the score, who won. There wasn't the deep dive, so to speak, that there is now. Before, like years ago, Boston would be, people like, oh, Boston killed them, they swept them. But now it's really just not that way. You have to look at, as you said, the context. No Halliburton. They were losing these games, every one of them basically, except game 2. So really, how impressive was Boston?
Well, and the other thing too, I look at these matchups. I'm interested about the matchup because, first of all, Dallas is dangerous in that they can push it, right? Because when you have those two lead guards, right, like you can push it, and they also play really good front court defense. Like they do. And look, I give both Kyrie and Luka credit because they've been busting it on defense, and those two usually don't.
Yeah, it's interesting, Anthony, because it's funny. The one thing that really struck me watching Dallas was what you said. I forget what game it was. There was one of the games against Minnesota where I was just like, wow, man, their defense is unbelievable. Like it was maybe in game 1. I was like, wow, like it's hard for
it was
Minnesota
game 1. I remember thinking it was game 1. I remember thinking that I thought they would win the series. Like I was like, oh, they're going to win the series. Right. Because of the way they can D up like that, and the way they had, and it was funny. I mean, I love Anthony Edwards. Right? I love him, but
of course.
But they did an amazing job on him. He struggled to find open looks.
No, he absolutely did. And again, I was impressed with Dallas. I was. Their defense was really, really good. They do have the 2 guys, Anthony, that they have 2 of the best scorers, true best scorers in the NBA. That look, they have 2. They could score at any time. The shot clock could be running down 5, 4, 3. The defense can be great, and they can just eradicate it because of their incredible shot making ability. And look, the trade they made getting PJ Washington was huge. Lively's been terrific. The role players are playing well. Look, we'll see. We'll see what's going to happen. Again, from a talent standpoint, though, Anthony, again, you look at the names. I think Boston is, from a name standpoint, and you're just taking players. Boston to me is the most talented team in the NBA. They won 64 games. But again, to me, there's something, I'm going to trust my instincts here. There's something that's just not quite right to me about this team. And I don't know why I can't put my finger on it, but something in me just seems like they're not quite what I want to see from a championship.
You know why they lack D? They're not a great defensive team.
They're not a great defensive, but you know, funny, they do have good defensive players in the backcourt with Holiday and White, but more front court wise, they just, don't have that. But backcourt wise, I really do like Holiday and White.
Drew's always been a really good defender. I agree, and I like Derek White. And Derek White's that guy that will always somehow find a way to kill you, right? Whether it's a triple or a steal. Right, like he's that kind of dude.
But I'm going to say this, Anthony, and for everyone Sixer fan who's watching. Again, when the Sixers, again, I understand they won Game 4 or Game 5 the same way, but the Game 2 loss, right, in this series, for both teams, I'm saying it, not just one. You got who's going to win the close games? Because let's say it's a 7-game series. Let's suppose it goes 7. There's probably going to be 3 games that aren't really, maybe one team wins by 8+. And maybe there'll be 4 games that go down in the last 2 minutes, so to speak. Whoever wins those games, I mean, it sounds simple, but it's everything. Whoever doesn't blow a game the way the Pacers lost when they were 100-1 favorite in Game 2, whoever doesn't blow a game like that, or the way the Sixers blew Game 2 against the Knicks, whoever wins the game where it's tied with 2 minutes to go, that's, in a best-of-7 short series with teams are this close, it's going to be whoever executes better. It sounds simple, but it's just the way it is. That's the team that's going to win the series.
Yep. No, I'm with you. Brain brought to you by Bet Parks. Don't forget Bet Parks Thursday, NBA Finals Game 1. All right, Bet Parks has you covered. You can live bet while you watch the game. Boston, 6.5-point favorite against Dallas. The total, 215.5. You can bet on points, rebounds, assists, all the props you want. All your favorite sports on the Bet Parks app right now. You can also play live baccarat, live roulette, several different live blackjack games. Play them all right now with a live dealer right on your phone with the Bet Parks online and sportsbook casino. Plus, you get hundreds of exciting online slots. All right. All the action excitement from the casino right at your fingertips. Safe, simple, easy to use. Bet Parks, the only app I'll recommend. Odds, bets, slots, games right in your pocket. In fact, new users right now get up to $1,000 casino bonus back if you're down the first 24 hours. BetParks.com has all the details. Got to be 21, PA, New Jersey, Maryland, Ohio, Michigan. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right. So how do you attack it? I'll tell you, one guy that I love is PJ Washington. So I would ride his over. I think he's going to.
Did you see what I sent your producer or no?
No, I don't see it.
That was, dude, I love me, man, because we it's funny, guys. Everyone watch. I swear, Anthony and me, it is weird. It's very weird. We always seem to have the same takes, feels, vibes in most of these games. It is ironic. I said when I gave out to your guy, PJ Washington, over 11.5 points.
Really?
Is my favorite one.
I sent that to Legs yesterday. I mean, we were talking.
Yeah,
I love him. Dude, look, you could see him. There's no one who can guard. Like he's a matchup problem for them. And because of Kyrie and Luka, he's going to get open shots. He'll get better looks than he did against Minnesota. He'll get more looks like he did against OKC.
Sure.
Like with Boston, and he scored against OKC.
Yeah. Listen, I'm with you, my friend. And again, PJ Washington's playing really, really well. Look, in these playoffs, he's averaging 13.6, I think, and they made it 11.5. He's getting more minutes. He's become more of a focal point of the offense. He's become the true number 3 guy. I see no reason, again, why you're making this 11.5. I think it's just too low. I think it's 2 points too low. I would have it 13.5. That's what I would make it, honestly. Yeah. I see no reason to make him 11.5. I think he's again, I always say, something fundamentally changed. To me, something fundamentally has changed with Dallas. PJ Washington has really become a true third guy for this team. And I like him over 11.5 points. And the juice right now in Parks, Anthony, is only minus 110. Very, very reasonable. Like that bet a lot. Anthony, I'm also going to give you, look, I like Dallas getting the 6.5. Why not? I think again, I think the game's going to be close. I think it should be a close, entertaining, tight game. Goes down to the end. I'd rather take the 6.5 than take the money line. I think the game's going to be tight. I think it can go either way. And I like Dallas getting 6.5 points. Those are the two things in the NBA I like. And Anthony, I'm going to give you a couple things in baseball. Tanner Houck, Boston Red Sox, has been absolutely
really
sensational this year.
Yeah.
1.85 ERA, Anthony, a whip less than 1. 8 of his 12 starts, he's allowed less than 2 runs, 0-1 runs, 8 of 12 starts. Right now on the Park side, Anthony, you could take Boston minus a half run against the incredible Chicago White Sox. Only minus 137, laying a half run on the 5-inning line. I know, again, obviously Houck's going to pitch his 5 innings. Don't need the Red Sox bullpen, but I feel very comfortable and confident going against Woodford of the White Sox that they will be leading after 5 innings. Only to lay 137. I think that's way too low, like the Red Sox. And Kikuchi, Anthony, of the Blue Jays, his K rate's down this year, under 6.5 strikeouts, minus 141. Orioles, 6th hardest team in Major League Baseball to strike out this year, 4th hardest in the past month. This 7-5 during the year. And again, with a tough matchup, I like Kikuchi, Blue Jays under.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Hey, last thing, and don't forget, you can get Brad at Brad's Best Bets on Twitter and at bradsbestbets.com. He wins. You're Danny Hurley. Do you take the big bag and go to LA, or do you stay at UConn and become the next Coach K?
Man, that is a great question by you. Look, it comes down to it's like, what ice cream do you like better, chocolate or no? It's a personal preference thing, right? Does he want that college culture where he can be the way Coach Wright was at Villanova, Coach K was at Duke, and just, become the next Calhoun there, right? And really get his legacy there? Or say, you know what, I want a new challenge, like Jim Harbaugh, right? Wanted the challenge of saying, I just wanted Michigan, I wanted my alma mater, I want to win a Super Bowl too. Does he want to say, I want to win an NBA championship? I want the challenge. Here's the thing: if he leaves UConn and he fails in the NBA, I guess it happened to Beeline. He never came back, but he could always theoretically go back, right? And kind of like Saban did when Saban went to the Dolphins.
I mean,
Calipari could theoretically go back.
Calipari did it. Pitino did it.
Yeah, I mean, it comes down to, do you want to? Listen, Anthony, we call this the grind, right? Like, do you want the grind of the NBA? Although the grind of college, I can tell you, with the NILs, you can make the argument the NBA is easier now, to be honest.
Yeah,
actually, I got to be honest. I'm curious what Coach Rule.
To me, it's all about, do you want to coach? Like, can you coach NBA players the way you can coach college players, right? Because, he runs a very meticulous program, and he's a hard coach.
Let me ask you a question. I know you're very close with Coach Rule. What did he forget where he's had more success, but what was his NFL versus college football? What did he like factoring all the bureaucracies away to face in the NFL versus college? Like, does he like it more in college, more in the NFL? It's a different world.
I think the grind of NIL and portal he does not like.
Yeah, I'm sure it's horrible. It's tough.
Right. But I think he loves the atmosphere, right? He loves the kids. I think he's a teacher at heart, right? Like, a lot of these coaches are teachers, right? So
and that's why college is.
Right. So, you have more of an impact. I think he loved the NFL. I also think the NFL, he didn't get the true experience. He takes over during COVID. He's got a bad owner, right? Like a very egotistical, deep-pocketed owner, right? Yeah. So, I think that was factor. But I think he loves. There's an energy on a college campus that is. I think that youth thing. It's interesting. My niece Mia goes to UConn. She's sitting here, right. She's right here in the studio. And
hi, Mia.
She's like, I don't want Dan Hurley to go. No, stay, Coach Hurley.
Well, let me ask you a question, Anthony. I heard, potential rumors that I don't know if it changed, that JJ may get that job.
They were that came out yesterday that Reddick was among the finalists.
Would you be in favor of that? If just curiosity, what are your thoughts on that as a sports guy? Do you think that makes sense, or do you think that's more of a that's a crazy move? What are your thoughts?
Listen, I think Reddick could do it. I don't think it's insane. I don't. Right. I think JJ could do it. I think he's one of those guys. Honestly, if you got legs and pluck legs out of the ESPN booth, right?
Yeah, of
And
course.
put him in, I don't know, pick it in
Wherever.
Memphis or whatever,
Yeah.
right? I think he has success. I think he knows the game. I think Reddick could do that. He played in the league. He's got
I agree.
gravitas. So, I don't think it's all that. But Danny Hurley is a great coach. Like, you're going to have to come in and, a guy like Reddick would have Coach K at his disposal. He'd have all that whole Duke thing to help him figure it out. Because that's what you got to do. You're going to have to figure it out.
I agree. Look, we'll see what happens. It's an interesting thing, and we'll see. Obviously, with LeBron's free agency, they don't want to. I'm sure they just want him back. I'm sure LeBron will be heavily involved in the new coach.
Yeah, without a doubt. Great stuff, Brain. I could talk to you all day, man. You know that.
You're the best.
Thanks,
I'll see you
buddy.
tomorrow.
There he is, the Brain. We love the Brain. All right, let me tell you about. I talked to you about the Bet Parks Sportsbook app, right? But let's talk about Parks Casino. Street Road, Ben Salem. Because if you can't get, maybe sometimes you go, I want some real action, right? I want some fun. And it doesn't get better than Parks Casino in Ben Salem. The most fun you'll have in any casino experience in all of Pennsylvania is Parks Casino, Street Road, Ben Salem. So you want world-class dining? They got it. The Park Steakhouse, the Bamboo Noodle House. I mean, you want hand-rolled sushi rolls. I mean, it's the Liberty Bell Gastropub. Tremendous. World-class entertainment that comes. JB Smoove, one of my favorites, is coming this fall. All right? They get the biggest names at the 1,500-seat Excite Center. All right? They have it all. And then, of course, you want all the action, the state-of-the-art slots everywhere. I saw the new NFL slots that they have that they got going on. Of course, all the table games. They have an amazing poker room that's always ready for you. If you love that, leave a little poker action. What about the sports book? Tremendous, right? You walk into that sports book and the screens, it's like NASA everywhere to watch games and bet on all the games right there live, right there in the sports book. They have it all. It's Parks Casino, all right? You want to have fun. You want to bet Parks. Enjoy Parks Casino. ParksCasino.com has all the details, all right? You got to be 21. A gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, cuz. Well, let's talk right now about the Game Time app. And it's a big night for all of us Colombians in the tri-state area because the mighty Fercho is coming to the Wells Fargo Center. So it's important for Philadelphians to defend the center again, just like in the playoffs, from all the New Yorkers and the North Jerseyans that are coming down here. So if you want to come and hang out with me, I already got people hitting me up, and I'm already letting them know. There's only one place to buy the tickets. Be like me. Get them with the Game Time app. They're the best place to get all your last-minute tickets. They have the best deals, flash deals all the time as well. So if you want to come hang out with me, you could definitely check out the Game Time app. I already checked it. Tickets are as low as $32. But listen, we're in summertime, right? It's baseball season. It's soccer season here as well, right? So guys, when the Phillies come back from London, make sure you guys check out the Game Time app while you're out there tailgating, right? Having some of those dogs, having some beers. Head on over to the Game Time app. It's a free app. They have the best prices. Oh, and by the way, remember those hidden fees? No. Game Time does not do that to any of us, all right? You will know exactly what you're paying for right before you hit that checkout page. That's honestly my favorite feature on the app there. So here's what you got to do, guys. So look, right now, use that promo code PHLY. Again, that's PHLY. You'll get $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. You need to create an account, and then once you create that account, then you can purchase those tickets by using that promo code PHLY. You'll get those $20. Guys, $20? You don't see how much beer is at the stadium these days? So make sure you guys check out our friends over at Game Time.
All right, JP, we have reached the 10 o'clock hour right here on the Anthony Gargano Show, presented by Rite Aid, your neighborhood pharmacy. Visit your local Rite Aid today. Stock up on allergy relief. Catch up on immunizations for RSV, shingles, and more. Walk in or schedule a vaccine appointment at riteaid.com. Well, Eagles minicamp, you know who was there? Baldy. Baldy, Baldy. Oh, let's talk some football. Baldy, Baldy. Oh, he likes pizza and football. Oh, Baldy. Baldy! First of all, before we get into birds, because I know you were at camp yesterday,
Yes.
let me see that T-shirt.
Oh yeah, oh, for sure.
Breakdowns.
That's
Wow.
the new logo. New logo is busting out. Been wearing it to some different mini camps and OTAs here the last couple of weeks, and we're gonna open up a store here real soon. Cause like it might open up as soon as next week. Just Baldy's Breakdowns, BaldyBreakdownStore.com, and you can like order anything. Online.
I'm in, man. I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my Baldy gear.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna blow this thing up for sure.
I love it. That's a great logo too. I think it's cool. So get that superhero vibe to it. You know what I mean?
That's when you put the shirt on. That's the feeling I want you to have. I want you to have a superhero feel, like you feel special. Like I remember when I was a kid, like I fell in love with the game of table tennis. Right, I was a ping pong fanatic. So I remember I was playing in the Minnesota State Ping Pong Championship, right? USTA, United States Table Tennis Association, Minnesota Open, right? So I'm in there, man. I got my paddle. Anyways, I bought this shirt, and it had a logo, USTA, like, and it had two ping pong paddles, like in the back of the shirt. I mean, when I put that shirt, I must have worn that shirt every day, or nearly every day for a year and a half. I mean, I fell in love with this sport. I still love it.
That's
like I
cool.
put that shirt on. That was my favorite shirt.
I didn't know you're a big ping pong man.
Oh my God! In fact, I lost to this kid. I was 13. I was in the 13 and under category, and I lost to this kid from Iowa, Brandon Olson. You can look it up. He became a national champion. This kid,
Really?
Brandon, he was 8. He was playing up. He was 8 years old, and he beat me. I was so devastated. I came up, and there was a double elimination thing, so you come up through the losers bracket. But it just kind of, you knew, this is just the state of Minnesota now, but you just knew, like, this sport had some of the best athletes on the planet playing it. Like, just the foot quickness, the eye coordination, just the hand speed. I mean, it had, like, I know, like, paddle, all the stuff out there that's out there now that people are playing. It's great. But table tennis, to me, I get a chance to watch two great ones go at it. Like, it's just a phenomenal sport.
Well, how did you do? Like, did you have spin? Did you use a lot of spin on it?
Like, you have two grips. You got like the pen grip, or you got like the Western, the Eastern grip, Chinese grip, right? So you had two different grips, but like everything was spin.
Yeah,
like, everything was spin. But it was, in order to serve, you had to serve with an open hand. So everybody serves, and they cut it. But like, just the amount of ground that you have to be able to cover in that sport is like, I mean, I don't know how many people like follow table tennis. I still follow it. It's I mean, you're covering 30 feet sometimes if you're just playing defense. You're just returning like a machine, just returning it. You're covering 30 feet, and then the amount of speed that you could put on the ball with just these overhand spins and how you can drive it. It's like your eyes got to be razor sharp.
Yeah, that's wild. That's a great story, man. There's always something in the Baldy coffers that we
I don't know
learn.
where that one came from, but I remember hitchhiking to downtown Minneapolis to get to this tournament. My parents said, "We're not driving any ping pong tournament. You want to go? Figure out a way to go." So I remember I hitchhiked to downtown Minneapolis to this tournament.
You're 13 years old. You're 13 years old,
yeah.
You're
Cedar
13 years old.
Downtown.
Hitchhiking downtown.
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right, let's talk about what you saw yesterday. You were down at the Eagles yesterday. So let's get a couple things going. Brandon Graham, I don't know if you heard this afterwards. Brandon Graham talked to the media and was talking about how disjointed everything was last year under the coaching change. And I mean, through the whole season, right? You went to Patricia after Desai, and he said there was a lot of disjointed. The substitution issues, nobody knew where they were going. So he automatically saw a difference in minicamp.
Yeah. Well, I don't think Brandon was wrong. But in addition to all the injuries they had, especially at linebacker, I remember being out there at the that Saturday before the first preseason game where they have the open thing at the link, 40,000 people. And I remember, like, there was Zach Cunningham there, and like all these guys, they were literally signing off the street. Like, they just showed up. They didn't practice that night, but like they were signing people, trading for Kevin Byard, in the midseason. Like, they were just trying to fortify the ranks. And then you get all these new players coming in off the street, and then you got a new guy trying to teach a system. Then he gets supplanted by Patricia, and he's supposed to be just an advisor. So Brandon's not wrong, and he's not making excuses. But, it didn't help that they didn't tackle well, and they couldn't cover. Like, those are major issues. Like, even going back early in the season, because I remember, if you remember this game, week 4, they played Washington, and Washington drives the field with no timeouts in the last minute and a half to tie the score up 31-31. Like, they gave up 31 points in both games to Washington last year. Like, to say it was disjointed was probably, he's probably being kind, because it certainly looked that way.
Yeah, and to your point, they gave up a ton of those types of drives. Like, and it was odd because during the collapse, Drew Lock, right, drives the length of the field to beat them on the Monday night. Like, we saw a lot of these things. They really need to get buttoned up.
They were beating the Cardinals like 31-13, and they didn't put them away.
Yeah,
and they lost 35-31.
Yeah,
like Kyler did whatever he wanted to do in the second half of that game, and they ran the ball however they wanted to run it. Like, they couldn't take anything away. But you're right, Drew Lock, that final drive. I mean, and then obviously the San Francisco game was as ugly as it gets. 6 straight touchdowns. I don't think any team in this league, maybe that game, Miami and Denver, maybe Miami scored 6 straight touchdowns, if I remember correctly. But I mean, that never happens in the NFL.
All right. So what kind of, I think we're going to see market improvement. It's just going to be, to what degree? I mean, first of all, you got a veteran in Fangio, and then, you address the secondary, right? So, what kind of improvement are you expecting out of that unit?
Well, I mean, Vic drives you hard now. He coaches hard. It's not overly complicated what he does. But I think, at least from an assignment standpoint, we shouldn't see the breakdowns that we saw last year. Like, I don't care what teams are doing. I don't care who you're playing. Everybody has pre-snap motion cards. Everybody has formations. Seattle's got a new offense coordinator come from college. Like, he's very, he fits right in the mold of what they're going to do. Cliff Kingsbury, you'll see him twice a year now in Washington. You're going to get a lot of motions, a lot of formations, a lot of eye candy. So, your eye, it starts with your eye. You got to play to the whistle, and your eyes got to be good. And so I think those are some basics that Vic will be preaching, and then he's going to mix up his coverages. He always does, which is fine. Everybody has to do that. But, this from a standpoint of just, okay, this is the game plan. This is what we're going to do. This is our rotation. Like, those things should be firm from Vic Fangio. And the other thing is, Vic is a Pennsylvania guy. He started his career East Stroudsburg State. He wants to be here. He wants this to be his last stop. He's had an amazing career all the way from position coach for Jim Moore in New Orleans back in the early 90s, coach of the Dome Patrol to head coach, you name it. He's done it all. This is his last stop. He wants to be here. So I think you're going to give the very best of him.
Could you, and I think this is important for people watching, can you break down some of the principles of his defense? Because, we all talk about, what he runs and how, what they've been doing has been an imitation of his. Now you get the real thing. So just sort of his basic principles I mean, people understand the Jim Johnson. It's not that. So explain to them the principles of this thing.
Well, I mean, they're a 4-man front. They're not a big blitz team. Okay, you got to win with your front four. You're basically going to get a 2-high safety shell every pre-snap, every play,
Yep.
and then at the snap, you're going to get some safety rotation if they're in man, if they're playing a one rat, if they're playing a version of cover 6 where you're man on one side, zone the other. But you're going to, the quarterback facing you. I mean, you go back to Denver. You remember, just looking at Justin Simmons and Kareem Jackson, the guys they had back there. They lined up literally right safety, left safety. When he was the head coach there, like literally Justin Simmons was the right safety, Kareem Jackson was the left safety, and that's how you started. And even last year, before Javon Hall and all the injuries they had, in Miami, like you're going to line up a pre-snap cover 2 looking shell, and then at the snap, you're going to move. And, sometimes you can get caught a little bit in some rotations, but by the same token, the quarterback isn't going to be able to make a whole lot of pre-snap reads about what you're doing.
Yeah. And listen, it's meant to kind of thwart big plays. I mean, it's not a defense that gives up a lot of big plays, which was odd because the Eagles just could never play it the right way. They were never correct in how they played it.
Well, they gave up 35.
Baldy. Oh. Just could never play it the right way. They were never correct in how they played it.
Well, they gave up 35 touchdown passes last year, which was only Washington gave up more. I mean, that was you don't want that on your resume. I mean, it really led them to what they did, getting the first corner off the board, and then drafting Cooper DeJean. I mean, I'm curious, really, as this whole thing comes to an end today. Being over there today, the last mini camp, and then going into the summer, I'm really curious how they're going to train Cooper DeJean at this point, because it's a little bit unclear.
Yeah.
But I think you need to get him on the field, and so just because of his tackling ability, his ability to do a lot of different things, like it just seems like a guy that Quinion and Cooper finding a way to get both those guys on the field right now. You're going to get speed, you're going to get playmaking ability, you're going to get tackling, all those things that didn't show up a year ago.
Yeah, and the only thing that and I love what they did that secondary. I think we all should. The only thing that scares me is they still need to force more turnovers. Like they were so bad at it, and that has to happen. I don't know. I mean, it's all going to be if Carter can be our game wrecker, that's going to be a big piece of it.
Well, not only did they change Vic Fangio, but they changed the whole staff. You've got, you got a new defensive line coach. So, Jalen's going to, Jalen Carter and Nolan Smith and these guys, they're going to get trained a different way. And I think they have to.
Yeah.
I think they needed a switch. So, but Jalen Carter, for the first 10 weeks, 11 weeks of the season was a dominant player. And he could be, the way that he played, he could be as talented a 3 technique as there is in his business right now. And if he flourishes, if he makes that leap this year, it's certainly going to make things a lot better on the back. And I still think they have major question marks at the nickel's corner right now. Maybe Avonte Maddox. I don't know. Like, he couldn't stay healthy.
Mm-hmm.
He's been a good player at times. I think they have major question marks at safety. We still hear about Justin Simmons, a possibility. Like, I still am worried about the back end, especially at safety right now with this team. But it certainly can help if Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Bryce Huff. We got to see. They look undersized up front, cuz. Like, what are teams that want to run the ball? Like, are they going to be able to hold up against those kind of teams right now?
All right, let's look at the other side of the ball. And what do you want to see? Let's look at that piece, and let's start with the quarterback. What do you want to see from Jalen now? I mean, he's going to have. There's a completely. Again, we talked about the deficiencies of the offensive coordinator last year, and how Brian Johnson, it did not work out. So you have a whole new direction. What do you want to see from Jalen? And that, I'm sure, starts with his eyes.
Yeah, well, I have two things jump out right now. One is, they got to have a better answer for teams that want to blitz them. They were terrible last year, down the stretch. They didn't have an answer for it. I did it over and over again, showing that they didn't have a hot read. They didn't have a quick protection. They didn't have some basic things. They didn't have, built-in sight adjust. At least it didn't look like it. I'm sure they had some version of it, but I've been told, like, this is going back to Chip Kelly, they really haven't had quick protection. Quick 3-jet, quick 2-jet, where the ball's coming out fast. And then I want to see a more decisive Jalen. Now, there's things that can make Jalen more decisive. One, if you go quick protection, ball's got to come out fast. You don't have time to hold it. This is where the ball's got to go. And then I think you're going to see AJ, Devontae. I think you're going to see these guys moving around. I think you're going to see them in clusters, in bunch formations, where if you're going to go man coverage, all right, this is your read. It's going to be very quick. They break down. This is where, they make the mistake in coverage, which teams, that's why they go bunch formations. If you're in, either you get picked or you break down and two guys go with one guy comes free. So I think quick decisions, a lot of man beaters that they didn't really have a lot of last year. I think you see that from Kellen Moore. I remember just going back this week and watching the Chargers last year where Kellen Moore was against the Minnesota Vikings. And, in that game, Justin Herbert had his best game statistically he ever had. The Vikings blitzed him almost every play, and they had an answer for it. They had a lot of quick throws. He threw for 405 yards that day. They won the game. So I think you can see that from Jalen. I think something to look forward to and something I'm going to watch in practice is how quickly the ball's coming out. And do they have these built-in reads where the ball comes out quick and hot? And do they line up in a lot of these bunch formations to make these reads a little quicker, a little easier for the quarterback?
Yeah, I'm with you. And being more decisive, right? Being more decisive, even with his movement, right? Like not seeing. We saw it numerous times on tape last year, where the least bit of pressure, he was evacuating, man. And you can't, just a simple slide, just a simple step up. Like his pocket navigation has to improve.
I agree with that. I think I would hope that Jalen would improve, would sanction that. I mean, look, it's difficult for an offensive lineman. Like I played with Randall, and as talented as Randall was, as talented as Jalen is, when you start leaving the pocket, as soon as color starts to appear, like all of your protection breaks down. Like the defensive lineman is reacting to your quarterback, and you don't know where he's going to be. You don't, like, sometimes it's not like you're giving up on the block, but you don't know that your defensive lineman isn't charging you anymore. He's now left. So you can't go run with these guys. Like they're just better and faster athletes than you are. So you're on your own sometimes when you vacate the pocket the way you describe it. And there's times to do that for sure. And there's, last year, Wink Martindale, like he's trying to get free hitters to your quarterback. You got to make a decision. Do you have time to make the throw, or do you got to vacate? Like those things happen for sure. But you want to see a guy, especially with this line, because they're a good line. And I think Cam Jurgens could be a good player.
Yeah.
So they should have a good line that protects fundamentally pretty good. And you got to trust that. And there's got to be a built-in trust with the quarterback in that line.
So the other piece of this offense has to do with wide receiver depth, right? Like that, the other question mark, at least with this offense that we talk about. They got incredible, big names in Devontae and A.J. Brown and Saquon. receiver depth in this league is a big deal. How concerned are you for that?
Well, we got to see. I remember when Paris Campbell came out. I mean, he was ranked really high on their board coming out of Ohio State. He was running 4.4s. Yeah. Now, he has had a ton of injuries and hasn't been able to be counted upon. And last year, I thought he had a really good training camp in New York. And then the quarterback situation fell apart in New York. So, you can't, but he did stay healthy. Like, he has elite skills. Now, it hasn't being in Indianapolis, being in New York, it hasn't transferred yet. But he does have that ability to be the third receiver for sure and be that slot guy. We'll see. We'll see if he stays healthy. Maybe he's a guy that you can be dependent upon. But I remember their board when he came out of Ohio State. They took another guy. They took another guy that year. It didn't work out. But he's still in this league despite the injuries for a reason, because everybody recognizes like his speed, his ability to change direction, his ability to run routes. It's pretty good. Devontae Parker, they signed like he retired. So, you're looking at these rookies they drafted, and rookies are rookies. Sometimes they need a redshirt year. Sometimes they can come in and flourish. You got to give them some time and just see how they come along right now.
Yeah, let me ask you a question, because last year this was not a big part of their offense, but utilizing the backs out of the backfield, I thought they would utilize Swift a lot more because he was such a good pass catcher. Obviously, Saquon is. Do you expect to get the ball to the backs more?
Well, I would. I mean, Saquon's a great receiver. Has been since he came into this league. He's a great screen guy. You can line him up at wide receiver. You can put him in motion. He catches the ball well. He's good after the catch. Like I would expect. Now, the danger is, with his injury history, and you have to consider that, what's the, like I was just doing this thing on Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
And people want to compare him to, if you go and look at counting the 3 postseason games that McCaffrey played last year, he had 417 touches, 2,440 yards, 26 touchdowns. Like, I don't think any back, including Nick Chubb, Saquon, can handle that load. And we'll see if McCaffrey comes back from it this year. But, like what's the danger zone for Saquon? Can he, I know physically he can handle 300 touches, but when you get north of 300 touches, is there a chance that he's going to break down? Because he's had these injuries. It's real. So I know he's in great shape. He takes care of himself, all that stuff. But, like, you want him on the field all 3 downs. So, like, they didn't do that. They did Gainwell, Boston Scott. They had this rotation last year. And they've had that rotation. Like, because Saquon is such a good 3-down back. Now, he's not a great pass protector. He just isn't. A guy that size, he should be better. Like, if I was working with Saquon, they got a new running back coach, like, he's got to get better pass protection because teams would just, when he was in there on 3rd downs, teams blitzed him. And they kind of kept him in. It's B.O.B., blitz the back, right? So you got to keep him in sometimes, bringing a guy, you're scanning, you're in hot protection, whatever. All right. He's got to be better in that area. That's the one area that he's never been great at is pass protection.
Yeah, and I'm fascinated how Kellen Moore is going to, what's Kellen Moore's impact to this offense, right? It's not Nick's offense. What does Kellen Moore bring, and how does it look?
Well, I think, first of all, he's a good game planner week to week. I mean, you play these different teams. Dallas has tremendous speed on defense. How do you combat speed? Washington has good size. How do you combat size? You got to be able to change it up week to week. Now, they got an offensive line that can be as athletic as anybody out there. They have an offensive line that can move bodies as good as anybody. We'll see what the right guard spot looks like right now. Tyler Steen looks like he's going to be the guy, but that could change. Injuries always affect that. But it starts up front, and what do you do well? So I think Kellen Moore has the ability to do that. Last year, Keenan Allen had his best year. And what they did with Keenan Allen is they moved him around. He was inside in the slot. He was outside. He was in motion. Like, they did a lot with him, and he had a great season until the injury at the end. So I think what you've seen CeeDee Lamb flourish in this league. Part of that, Kellen Moore was there when he was a rookie. and you've seen CeeDee Lamb like just develop. So, and there was a time when they really ran the ball well with two backs, with Tony Pollard and Zeke in Dallas. Like, he's shown that he can play to your strengths and your talent ability, whether it's, feeding Saquon. How do you feed him? Now he's got a quarterback that is a great tool threat quarterback. He hadn't had that guy. Dak did a little bit of that, but nothing like what Jalen could do. But at the same time, Jalen's been hurt 3 years in a row. So what do we do? What do you do right now to utilize Jalen's talents as a runner, yet at the same time protect him and have him protect himself? So I think he's got all the ability to be as flexible as you need to be to maximize your talents. But the big thing is, like, adding this quick protection this year and getting the ball out of Jalen's hands is something they haven't had. And so I think I want to see how Jalen plays with that and if he's good at that.
Yeah. Yeah. There's one guy I'm curious about. I loved him in Denver. I mean, he's a huge target, good receiver. Albert O. They're a little thin at tight end, other than Goddard. You got Calcavecchia. I'm curious about Albert O. and what kind of like I thought he was going to be a player, and I was surprised it never really materialized in Denver.
Well, last year Sean Payton came in and they were 6 deep at tight end, and he had a good preseason, but he didn't really get an opportunity. Now they signed C.J. Uzomah, who's been a really good player in this league. Had some, nobody got the ball in New York with all the quarterback changes they had, but he's a good tight end. Like, I expect C.J. Uzomah to kind of climb up the ranks. Now, I don't know what his health situation is like when healthy in Cincinnati and even in New York. Like, he's a guy that you could count on to block the edge. He was a good, dependable receiver. So that's a guy that I would keep my eye on right now. He might be at the end of his line right here. You don't know when it kind of comes to an end for some of these guys, but he's a guy that has had some good days in this business.
So this is a fun time of the year because as soon as they put this camp to bed tomorrow, it's summer vacation across the NFL. And it's the summer slumber before it begins. Yeah. And you can taste it, man. We're only really, when you think about it, we're in June, right? We're a good, 5-6 weeks away from it. It'll be here before we know it.
It'll be here before we know it. This is, it's a good time for the coaches who've been grinding like crazy through free agency, the draft, and the second stage of this offseason that they're finishing up today. So it's good for the coaches. They got to freshen up. You just hope that the players don't, go knucklehead on you and do something stupid. They're young kids. Mistakes happen. You just hope that, their focus for the next 6 weeks, come to camp in shape. Don't do anything that would disgrace this organization. It's a first-class organization. You just have to walk over there, and you walk into all these buildings. I'll be at the maybe Washington tomorrow and the Giants next week. You walk into some of these buildings, they're not the Philadelphia Eagles. They just don't operate that way. So, respect what Jeffrey Lurie has built over there, what Howie Roseman is doing, and get ready to go compete. This is a good roster, and I think most of these guys are pretty good. They know what's lies ahead of them, but this should be a good season. And
that was my question to you. You were there yesterday, and I guess last thing would be give me your overall vibe, right? Like, when you're looking at them and you're looking at next season, what is your vibe with it?
Well, look, I think they could very easily be a Final Four team. We know San Francisco is going to be good. We know Detroit's going to be good. It looks like Chicago and Green Bay are here. We have major question marks about Dallas, but Dallas has just won 12 games 3 years in a row. Like, you can't discount Dallas. They're better than Washington. They're better than the Giants. They should compete for this division. They should be in contention for being a Final Four team. You get to the Final Four, all right. You got one game to win, and you're in the big dance. So that's my expectation for this team. Like Howie's done a great job of, Devin White's a good player. Like they've added some good Saquon. They've added good players to this roster. They went out and they did things in the draft. Okay, they had their choice of the number one corner. Nobody could have said that sitting where they were, that they could have, their pick of any corner in this draft. And they got their corner. We'll see if Quinyon, Terrion, all these guys that went. We'll see, which guy becomes the guy. Maybe all of them do. But they got their pick to go fix that position. And that was a major weakness. They got two new coordinators like this and a new defensive staff. This should be a much better coach team and much better talent than what we saw last year. I think they have question marks on the defense line depth-wise. I think they have questions at safety. All right. Well, let's see how that plays out right now.
I like it. Baldy, you're the best.
Thanks, Gus. Good talk to you, buddy.
Baldy, of course, brought to you by Butcher Box. It's the Meatlocker. Meatlocker choice is always Butcher Box for all your meats and proteins and seafood delivered right to your door. JP?
All right, cuz, let's talk real quick about our friends over at Mortgage CS, ladies and gentlemen. Because, look, for a lot of us, it's scary to buy a house right now, and I completely understand. Prices of these houses are ridiculous, and let's not even talk about the interest rates as well. That's why, listen, the mortgage company you select is super important because you need someone that you can trust and someone that makes you more comfortable in your home buying, and that's why I want to recommend to you guys Mortgage CS. If you're already in the market, you can still explore your options with Mortgage CS. This is home financing, all right? It's not a marriage, guys. You may be shocked at how much money that you can save. And Mortgage CS is an independent mortgage broker that's located right here in the Philadelphia area. Those local roots, something that we always talk about here on the show. This means that they won't steer you to just one mortgage option or what's best for them. They will work with you, not the banks. And Ben and Alec are fantastic over at Mortgage CS. They will ensure you have a rock-solid pre-approval, and they'll take the time to explore anything you want. Want a novel idea? That's why Mortgage CS is in the mortgage concierge service. The real estate market is competitive, so you can rely on Mortgage CS to help you understand where you can be flexible in your offer to buy a home without any unnecessary risk. So like we mentioned, listen, Ben and Alec are fantastic. They're based right here locally in the Philadelphia area, and they're Philly sports fans. Right now, you see the cell phone number of Ben Sucker at the bottom left of your screen. Text that number right now, 267-391-7425. Ask Ben how he's feeling. Listen, everyone's excited about the Phillies in London. I'm sure Ben is feeling excited as well. Ask him how he feels about the Phillies with a 2-game set against the Mets, or you can ask him some advice to get your home buying process started here today. And of course, guys, we just gave you that phone number. Again, I'll give it to you, 267-391-7425. You can also go to mortgagecs.com/PHLY, and you can also check out their over 370 perfect 5-star reviews. Not only just us believe Mortgage CS is a great mortgage company, but over 370 people believe the same thing as well. So, guys, it's home buying season. You need your mortgage company, consider Mortgage CS. And of course, it is right now 10:39 in the morning here on the Anthony Gargano Show. I want to take a quick second and thanking everyone for taking the time out of their morning to watch us. We really appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying today's content, make sure you guys hit that like button and then hit that subscribe button as well. Once you hit that subscribe button, you'll see that little bell. Hit that as well so you can know exactly when the Anthony Gargano Show is live. You can also find us wherever you stream podcasts, Apple, Google, and Spotify. We would appreciate if you guys would leave a little rating. And, of course, make sure you guys are subscribed there as well. And here's what's on the docket here at PHLY Sports. Following us at 1 o'clock, we have PHLY Flyers. And by the way, Dan Hilferty, he watches PHLY Flyers. So should you. At 2:30, PHLY Sixers will go live. And then today, our PHLY Eagles team will be going live at 3:30. Speaking of Phillies, guys, we're all getting ready for the London series. So here at PHLY Sports, we got you covered for those who are staying here in the area. This weekend, we have not one, but 2 watch parties, all right? Gall & Co. are taking care of everything as far as a party-wise goes. And on Saturday at 12:30, we'll be at the Rockledge location. And on Sunday, we will be at the Port Richmond location, all right? We're going to have Miller Lite specials. We're going to be giving away some tickets and some other fun stuff. Golden Cole have fantastic food as well. So we're having a lot of fun for both days here. PHLY Phillies will be hosting the event there. It's going to be a lot of fun. If you have nothing to do, definitely come on over and hang out. More information can be found at allphly.com/events, and you might even see me there as well. That's what we got going on here at PHLY, cuz.
Love it, JP. Fantastic. This portion of the show is brought to you by TrueMark Financial Credit Union. See the TrueMark difference. Go to TrueMark.com/PHLY. Time now for the clubhouse. Let's bring him in.
Hey.
The resident sickie, VG.
Yo,
Luis, how you feeling, buddy?
Fedora.
I don't feel too bad, man. Just took a nice hot, steaming hot shower. Open up the head a little bit, the sinuses. It's got like a head cold, it feels like. Mild fever. But, man, there's nothing like a steaming hot shower. Almost no cold water when you're feeling sick, man. It's the best.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I got the hat on. No baseball.
Yeah, you gotta get a little fancy, man. We're going to London, UK. You gotta get a little fancy.
I love it.
Are
London
you going to be able
Can't
to
just
come in
wear 'em.
tomorrow or no?
I don't know, man. I'll test in the morning. If I'm negative, sure, but I don't know. I don't think I should, unless, I don't know.
I don't know. I'm just again because we're doing our London parade tomorrow. It's going to be our.
I know. I'm so bummed out about this.
I know. We got to get. We're going to have cocktails. Going to miss you, dude.
I know.
You're off tomorrow.
Be nursing a hangover.
The bro
No
will be.
worries.
The bro will be bartending tomorrow.
Oh yeah, nice, fancy. Ooh.
Yeah.
Can't
Nice.
wait.
A lot of perfect gin and tonics tomorrow.
Well, I'm a G&T.
I know. They
cuz
love the G&T over there, too.
I know.
It's going to be awesome.
Hendrix.
Yeah.
All right. Time now for best and the worst of the evening. We'll start with the best. JP, what do you got?
Okay. So the best we're going to go to, obviously tonight we're all gearing up for the NBA Finals. So a lot of people are talking about the Mavs as underdogs. I'm going to give you a reason why I trust the Dallas Mavericks. So as we all know, Luka Doncic, before coming into the NBA, was a product of Real Madrid basketball. And so we found one of the places that he actually played in, cuz look at this amazing atmosphere at Panthakos
In Greece, right?
in Greece.
Yeah.
The Greeks know their basketball. So we are going to get that up in just a second. But I just love this atmosphere in Greece. So this basketball team, the fans it's very similar to soccer, right? They get into it. They're loud. They're
No, the
singing. They're
Euro
chanting.
basketball
It's awesome.
is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, they go nuts.
They put flares in the stands
Yeah.
as well, which
Yeah.
is absolutely wild.
No, it's insane. It like I think sometimes like we're like benign.
Yeah.
Like all Philadelphia fans are. Like, look at this.
Here's the scenes here at Panakokis. I get the pronunciation there. But so this is the type of atmosphere Luka Doncic was playing at 16 years old, ladies and gentlemen. So
Yeah,
a lot
and
of
they're
people,
insane.
a lot of people are talking about the home court advantage for Boston. I mean, I think Luka's not phased
Yeah, he's
whatsoever.
not
at the
worried
Garden.
about Boston.
So I thought that was really cool. I'd
No.
love to see more of that here. That was my best of the night.
No, that is cool. That
Love it.
I saw that too. It's pretty cool. What do you got, VG?
I mean, you gotta give it to the Phil's defense and pitching for the whole series. Just
2
ridiculous.
runs.
Check this out. These are the teams that have scored more runs than the Brewers this year. The Yankees at 313 and the Phillies at 320. You have the third highest scoring offense came in this weekend and put up 2 runs. That's ridiculous. 2 runs.
Cassie's getting hot, VG.
So you missed it earlier, VG. JP gives Nola the number 2 starter tag.
Is that good? He's always a number 2 starter. No, is JP
Well-
a hater? A Nola hater?
Well, we were talking.
No, actually, he made a point, and I go, listen, Wheeler's the ace, and then how you fill out is how you fill out. Ranger and Nola are, they're, A, 2A, 2B, whatever you want to call it.
I'm going to give you the numbers right now, VG. So this year, Nola is 8-2 with a 2.77 ERA and 76 Ks. I mean, my stance early in the year was Ranger to me was, Cuz was alluding to the fact that you can't give roles in the starting rotation. But, right now, Nola is your number 2 the way he's been pitching.
They got 3 number 2s. It's stupid. I mean, the National League ERA leaders, 4 of the top 6 in the National League are the Phillies.
I know.
It's incomprehensible.
I want to do this next week, but I want to I want to compare and contrast, and I want to go back and do some homework. The 11 season, right? And the 11 4 aces. And really, Blanton was the 5th starter, and he actually was decent.
Yeah.
But how this 4, because you can't take Taiwan out of it, how this 4 stacks up with them.
I would think it's bad. I mean, a lot of cannabis, so my mind is shot sometimes. But did Roy Oswalt have a good year that year? I feel like he underachieved a little bit.
Would have better success than Oswalt.
Yeah, I thought he was a little disappointing that year.
It's gonna be fun next
year.
Hey,
the Phillies.
You remember they get Oswalt at the end of his career.
Yes, the Phillies sweep of 7 or few runs, letting up 7 or few runs. This is the fewest runs they've let up in a sweep since 1966. It's just, it's. I'm running out of adjectives. We don't have adjectives for this team anymore.
Well, it's like every day. I was talking about this. Every day when we open the show, it's something, to further the Phillies story, right? Like it's crazy how it just has worked out. And, it's awesome.
The 93 team had 1 more win at this point, but this team feels I don't know why, they just feel far better than that 93 team right now.
Well, we're looking at the Seattle Mariners. At this point in 2001, they had 46 wins, so we're right there, 44. Almost there.
That's amazing. That really is. 44 and 19.
Mm-hmm.
All right, worst of the evening, JP.
All right, so someone actually tweeted out to Pat Gallen from CBS, and this was very hilarious. All right, so because we always see it, right? You have a jersey, player wasn't good, and then another player comes in with the same number. You love him. You want that jersey. So a lot of times you see either people using the duct tape scratched out or whatnot. Because this one was really interesting. So this gentleman, by the way, this is a Eagles jersey with the Puma. All right, he took out McNabb. Well, he duct taped over the McNabb, and he put Stott over it. And I thought that was absolutely terrible. We'll have it up here in a second. I'm going to show Cuz here, but this is the gentleman. He literally duct taped over the McNabb. And then put this Stott on top of it. And my thing is dude,
I give him points for creativity.
Yeah, but like here's for everyone to see. And
that's creative. Listen, normally I go violation, but that's great.
My beef is that how hard it is to find an Eagles Puma jersey? Like I love that era Eagles, like that look. And he just put the Stott over that one.
I don't know how I feel about this. I'm okay with it, probably just because it's McNabb's jersey. But other than that, I don't know how I feel about this.
No, but that's a unique take, VG. Normally, I would feel the same way, but I haven't seen that before to do that. And yes, it certainly makes it more palatable that it's McNabb.
Yeah, I would say, I don't know if I go unique, deranged maybe. Like that guy may have some problems.
I like that though. That's impressive.
Wearing an Eagles jersey.
I find that impressive.
What would be worse if he would have had a Nick Williams jersey and he taped Stott over that.
I'm out. No, at least football.
I know.
No, he does the football and he does the Stott over the football.
Well, right now a lot of Union fans are buying the new City Connects and they're putting Union players on it. Like there's a couple Carranzas I've seen out there, Bedoya's out there, and the City Connects are customizing those. Same colors.
See, I'm out on that stuff. Doing the
cross-pollinating.
Or like, the duct tape on the jersey, I'm out on that. It's
I find
just a bad look.
I wouldn't
do such a bad look to me.
I wouldn't do any of that, but the duct tape over the jersey is hilarious to me.
I think in the same sport. I don't like the cross-pollination. Yeah.
But I think that's unique. So I give him points for the uniqueness. And you might call it deranged. I appreciate the deranged.
At the facing of a 5 jerseys, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Can't go wrong.
What do you got? What's the worst of the night, BG?
Oh, picture Zach Berman sent around yesterday. That roach from New York City at Eagles training camp getting treated like a god by Big Dom and the whole crew, Jalen Brunson at training camp. Yeah, it's too soon. Come on, man. Too soon. That guy's an enemy of the state right now. They're all fawning over him. There's other pictures of Howie fawning over him. Get out of here with this.
All right,
That guy should be at Giants training camp.
Like Brunson's trolling us, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, the Eagles are trolling.
Brunson's trolling. I mean, right after he rips the heart out of Philadelphia, right? And then he comes to
he's an Eagles
minicamp.
fan.
I understand. all this,
Yeah, I don't
guys.
think he's trolling. He's an
He's
Eagles
not
fan.
trolling it.
I think he's trolling it.
He knows what he's doing.
No, he's not.
I know
trolling,
he's an Eagles fan.
But I agree with VG that you can't host them. If it was training camp, all right, right? It's enough time has passed. It's a new calendar year in the NBA.
The finals haven't even started yet.
What's that?
The finals haven't even started yet. Come on, it's too soon.
I agree. You had to wait till training camp, not mini camp.
Yeah.
Mini camp's a violation to host Brunson.
Yeah, the fault goes on
Totally
the
with
Eagles.
I want no parts of it.
Yes.
Agreed. I got to tell Big Dom. That's a violation.
That's a big-time violation. Can't do that.
Big Dom should have been escorting him off the premises
before you come around here prancing.
Agreed, yep.
Yes.
It's amazing, though. Everybody's an Eagles fan.
Yeah.
You know what's nuts? And I got to say this one time, right? The whole world feels like they're Eagle fans, right? You know, I mean, Bradley Cooper and, you know, all these big people, right? Like these celebrities and athletes and everything. And I think back to when, you know, we were kids, VG, and we used to get mocked for being Eagle fans.
It's
it was a
We're the
state.
bandwagon team now.
Like, we used to get mocked. There was
Laughed at,
you walked out of your house. Who was a Dolphins fan? Who was a Cowboys fan?
Oh, yeah.
Who was a Steelers fan? Who was a Raiders fan? Right? And like when you liked the Eagles, you were like they stink.
I mean, there was a little bit of that when I was growing up too. I mean, not everyone was an Eagles fan. Well, because
you grew up in the privileged time.
Well, I'm talking like early 2000s, not 2010s.
Ah, stop.
Early 2000s.
I had Colts
They went to
fans
the
in my
playoffs in
school,
2000.
Dolphins fans, Giants, Cowboys. We had all that too.
I didn't
Yeah,
experience
they
that.
were in Central Jersey, right?
Everybody was
South
Eagles
Jersey. That was
fans.
Cherry Hill.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, when I was growing up in Bucks County, everybody was an Eagles fan. You get the Giants fan here and there. You get the weird Cowboy fan here and there, but everyone was wearing the green.
Well, it wasn't until we won the Super Bowl, I feel like, we became the bandwagon team where everyone wanted to wear the
bizarre.
midnight green.
The Eagle bandwagon is crazy.
It is.
Sometimes I think back to it and I go, damn, man, it's listen, I think it's cool because I love like the fact that I never thought it was always the opposite. Like no,
It used to be like a curse.
Yeah, and
Being born here and having to be an Eagles fan.
right. Like they would call, you know, how many times you're losers, right? Like,
Oh, man.
I mean, we were the ultimate
Swamp.
losers.
Those Swamp Fox years with Marion Campbell.
Horrible. That's why people go, how could you love Buddy Ryan? Well, because Buddy Ryan had like this bravado when we were losers.
Yes, he gave us a little bit of pride.
Yeah.
He brought some pride back to the franchise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why. All right,
Yes.
time now. VG's Nugs.
VG.
Yo,
By the
they're giving away.
That was your back in the day moment. I'm sorry, VG. But going back, hearkening back to those days when you got mocked for being an Eagles fan is the back in the day moment brought to you by Rite Aid. Go to riteaid.com for your all your goods and everything you need. Go ahead, VG. I'm sorry.
And there were a lot of Dolphins fans back then. I don't know why. I guess the colors.
They were good back
was
then,
weird.
right?
Well, Dan Marino.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. All those Italians. Nick Cassiano. He deserves better.
Good.
Dan Marino. The Italians flocked to him. I mean,
All right, but
I like the Paisan.
He's a
sports,
Yinzer.
you always put this. Never mind. Go
I was
ahead.
going to bring that up.
Go ahead. Self-loathing Italian, you.
Castellanos deserves better than this giveaway of a basketball jersey with a horrible silhouette of the city on it. If you find out you're going to a Nick Castellanos jersey giveaway for fans 14 and under, you expect a baseball jersey, not this horrible-looking basketball jersey.
I agree. I can't listen when VT's right. That's why he's violations, Greg. He
deserves better.
Sensibilities are right on. And if you're going to Jersey night, you expect a baseball jersey.
Can I just say something?
And Costello's not exactly a hooper.
They are better looking than the ones the Sixers had.
I was gonna say the Ben. Those are. I would take those over the Ben.
I would wear
Simmons
that
black
over
jerseys.
the black one that the Sixers had. Those were
I agree with that.
Those are terrible.
This is why it's a double violation, is because he lives in that house, which is cursed, and they also the jersey they use is reminiscent of the one Ben designed. Just bad all around.
Connecting dots there, VJ.
It's a good point.
Hey, Aiden Miller, Philadelphia Phillies infielder in the minor leagues. The recent rankings got him the number 21 overall prospect in all of baseball. He's been raking. Is this guy trade bait? I mean, he's stuck here. He's an infielder. He can't play here for 3 or 4 years.
Here's the thing, though. I don't think they, knock on wood right now. What would you even want?
Outfielder.
I don't think you need it.
No.
Doles, baby. I'm all in on the Dave Doles.
I don't think you need. I don't think you need an outfielder right now. I mean, Marsh is going to come back. I mean,
yes.
Dave's double, man.
So you're good.
I'm good. Like I don't need to spend. Like, why spend for the sake of spending? Like, at some point, I thought I might need a reliever, but I really don't. And could I use a bat? All right, but that should be cheap. Like, I would go get a bench bat, like a Duval type.
Okay.
But
anyone but Tommy Pham. That guy's bad.
Trade him.
All right. Fastest pitches this year in Major League Baseball thrown by starters. The fastest 10 pitches this year have all been thrown by Pirates. They're all Paul Skeens and Jared Jones.
Dude,
and they're both 22 years old.
Skeens
22 years old.
Dude, yesterday, Skeens throws, he strikes out Ohtani on 3 pitches. They were all over 100.
Yeah.
He's disgusting.
Ohtani caught up to one, though, the second time around.
He did. No.
Blasted it.
It shows you. You just got to time it. I tell Massimo all the time.
Yes.
You time it.
Yeah.
Let's go a little rotation over there.
I want to put the Taiwan Walker stuff into context. Patrick Corbin is having a heck of a year this year. He's getting paid $25 million. And I think over his last 115 starts or so, his ERA is 5.77.
Dude, he's just terrible.
How bad did this guy drop off a cliff?
Yeah.
Stinks.
Yeah, he
$25
stinks.
million.
He's a gas can.
Yeah. Have you seen the Phillies Twitter put out the Abbey Road photo?
Yes.
Of they recreated the album cover with
that's good.
It's so good. They got the Fanatics sitting in the background down the street.
Yeah, that's
good. That's fabulous.
Here comes the vibes.
That's cool, man.
I also saw, it's pretty amazing. I don't have a picture that captures it. I have a picture somewhere, but Lucas Oil, the dome, the stadium, there is now a pool in the middle of it. They've built a pool for the U.S. Olympic qualifiers. Oh. And what they did was they built a 12-foot platform around it.
Looks like
and raised the ground level. Yeah.
Look at that.
It's pretty amazing. I would recommend someone watch the video of them building this pool in this dome. It's pretty fascinating.
Isn't that what they used to do during NCAA tournaments where they had to play in NFL stadiums? Like cut it in half?
Yep.
Yeah, cut it in half. We do it up at Syracuse at the dome. Yeah.
But it was horrible to see.
It looks terrible.
That's why there was always bad shooting forever in some of those big domes because they had the curtain off things.
Right.
I mean, it was never good.
It's not aesthetically pleasing, for sure.
That's cool, though. The
All right.
pool.
Soda. Coke is number 1. Pepsi has lost their number 2 ranking. Who do you think is number 2?
Olipop.
Olipop. Wow.
That's a good guess. I think they came in number 4.
All right, so
There you
wait.
go.
So let's think about this. So Pepsi's out at 2.
Who else could it be?
Yep.
I'll go with a little Dr. Pepper.
Bingo. Wow. I never
job,
thought you'd
cuz.
guess Dr. Pepper. Yeah. Dr.
They held
Pepper,
it
officially the
since
number 2 soda in
85.
America.
Wow, man. Pepsi spends a fortune, too.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Pepsi.
It was funny. I never liked it.
Dr. Pepper?
No, Pepsi.
Yeah, it's not that
I'm
great.
okay with Pepsi.
I'm a Cokesman. I love
Yeah, if
Coca-Cola.
you like Coke, you hate Pepsi.
Yeah.
It's too sweet.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than an
I'm
ice
okay
cold
with both.
Coke in a can. That is like one of the best things that you can drink.
The bottle is always the
The
best.
bottle, yeah.
Like
bottle.
dude,
The
like I
bottle's
told
the
you,
bottle.
Coca-Cola and pizza. It's
Yeah.
a great combination.
Oh, yeah. It's
It's the
classic.
best. Over ice.
Oh, that's the pagan. The pagan goes Coca-Cola over ice with pizza and potato chips. She's got to have some chips with her pizza too. I don't know why, but that's her
I
deal.
respect that.
That's
She goes
awesome.
to the potato chips
Yeah.
and the pizza.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's pretty
Yeah.
good.
All right. We got a couple more nuggets.
Okay.
There's a Pooseum coming. Cuz you interested in a Pooseum? Take the kids. It's the world's largest fossilized poop museum. This guy
Oh my God.
this guy in Harris, Arizona has 8,000 pieces of fossilized poop.
He should be
What,
arrested.
what
you
is it,
can go
dino
see it.
poop?
Human.
Yeah, it's all dino poop.
Oh!
And it's free. So if you're
I'm
walking,
not
if you're
paying
in
to go,
Harris,
so hopefully.
yeah,
Oh
if you're in Williams,
strange.
Arizona, check out the poop museum.
Oh, that's terrible.
God, the Cowboys in there, VJ.
All right,
Cowboys.
finish this up. Speaking of nugs, these are kind of the nugs that keep on going. The Edmonton Oilers have one of the greatest logos of all time. They've had that woman going around with
Oh man,
a nice pair of assets. So someone tweaked the Oilers logo a bit.
That's good.
That's fabulous.
Oh my God,
That is great. Oh my God.
your alternate jersey for 2025.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
Man, all
That's
right,
good
that's all I
stuff, my
got.
brother. I feel
Yeah,
bad. You're
we're going back
struggling
to-
today. Feel better.
Yeah, I'm a little tired this morning, but I feel better than I did like 10 hours ago.
All right. All right. You look like you're struggling. All right. Feel
Yeah, I'm going
better,
back on the
buddy.
couch.
All right. Good man.
Yeah,
better,
thank
VJ.
God for Bet Parks. You know, I'm betting sports, but also I'm playing some craps and some blackjack on the Parks app. You know, passing some time.
There you go, man.
Thank you, Matt Parks.
I love it. You're playing craps. That's fabulous.
Yeah,
He's
man.
got COVID. He's playing craps. That's fantastic.
So he's got the hat on,
roll,
you know.
roll the bones. Here in South Philly. That's
Yeah, man.
awesome. All right, brother.
All right,
Good
fellas.
stuff, man. Thanks, VG.
Yeah, man. I'll see you
There
later.
he is. All right. That'll do it for the program. As always, good stuff, JP. Enjoy your day off tomorrow.
I appreciate
Enjoy
it.
the concert tonight.
Thank you, man.
All right. Have fun. Be careful.
Absolutely.
All right. Everybody, thanks for hanging. We love you guys. You know that. Be careful. All right. Watch yourself. Tomorrow is our great British baseball show. So that's going to be tomorrow. Everybody, we love you. Hang in there, and we'll see you in the morning.
We all silly like the mayor.